Nick Darr here, getting ready to shoot another episode of Business Over Brew, which wouldn't be possible if not for our great sponsors at Roberts Motors. You know the Roberts Motors name. They've been around since 1949. Definitely a name that means quality. We certainly appreciate their support of not only this show, but all they do for the community. You talk about a local business that gets it in terms of supporting great community causes and just being involved in the community. The guys at Roberts Motors, Sam, John, the rest of the crew there, they really understand what it means to be a good business citizen in the community, and they've done that for a lot of years. If you're in the market for a vehicle, you know the car industry has been a little upside down lately in terms of inventory. They're starting to get more and more vehicles on the lot. Starting to see some new Broncos out there, so go check that out. A little more pre-owned inventory as well. They're certainly always in the market to give you a great deal if you're looking to sell your vehicle as well. Now's a great time to do that. And maybe something we don't talk about enough is just a really great top-notch service center at Roberts Motors. If you need work done to your car, you need tires, oil change, any kind of service work, Roberts Motors is really a terrific place to consider. And they would just appreciate the opportunity to do business with you, whether it's buying a vehicle, buying your vehicle from you, or getting some work done to your vehicle. Check out Roberts Motors on Albee Street in Alton or at robertsmotors.com. Welcome to Business Over Brew. Nick Darr here with you. Pleased to be joined in this episode by Mike Cheatam with One Stop Restoration. Mike, thanks for coming on the show. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Just tell us a little bit about yourself, a little quick background.
My name is Mike. My wife and I are from the area. We started our business about 3 years ago now, just kind of on a whim. Not so much on a whim, we were in the industry, but just saw an opportunity and decided that maybe it was the right time to try to do something.
Kind of a traditional question for people around here. Where'd you go to high school?
My wife and I both went to Alton High. She went to the old one, I went to the new one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, and then after high school, into the military, right?
Yep. After high school, my wife and I, we got married and I joined the Army. We traveled for about 8 years, Texas, Tennessee, and then came back home.
Decided to come back here and,
Yeah.
and settle in. When you came back, so that was a bit ago, what were you doing then?
When we first came back, my wife had moved home and started working, kind of get everybody settled. We got a couple kids, so I moved back. Told myself I was going to use my GI Bill and go back to school. It didn't last long. Classroom was just not my environment. So I went out and got into the workforce. I ended up at a restoration company. I've got, all my brothers and sisters have all worked in the industry. My brother for a real long time. And Steph and I, we knew that we wanted to do something, and that seemed like a pretty stable industry to get into.
For those that don't know, tell us about what the restoration industry is and what you guys do.
There's definitely a lot of people that don't know. You tell somebody like, oh, I do restoration, and they have no idea.
Like furniture?
Yeah. Cars, you restore cars?
Yeah, right.
So we do disaster restoration, water, fire, mold. We do all the reconstruction associated with them. And yeah, it's nobody ever knows what it is until they need it. It's definitely one of those industries. And if you ever see me at your house, it's probably not a good time.
You're not really happy to see me,
nobody
right?
ever is. I'm not the guy that, you went knocking on your door.
Hopefully it's happy by the end of the job, right?
That's the goal, yeah.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about what what you look for when you first show up at a job.
Definitely a lot. That's one thing that I've really fallen in love with in the industry. There's no two things that are the same. Mm-hmm. So it's cool. I don't have to go to work every day, and kind of feel stuck in like a loop or anything. Constant problem solving, but being in the industry long enough, you start to see, the signs of there's been a water damage before, telltale factors and stuff. So yeah, when we, first get a job, first go in somewhere, it's always best to look for those old signs, and they'll normally point you to the new stuff.
It's a interesting job in the fact or business because, like you said, when you show up, it is a major life event for somebody, whether it's a fire or even a major water loss. They're not in their normal state.
No, no, definitely not. And it's definitely, for some people, especially older homeowners and stuff, it's traumatic.
Right.
Structure fires are bad. You watch your entire life's work, go up in front of you. A lot of people lose everything. Even water damages. Water will destroy a house so fast. So it's really hard for a lot of people. It's kind of our go-to is if we can calm them down and make them feel like it's going to be okay, then we're off on the right foot.
There's really kind of a counselor side of it of, hey, we're going to fix this.
Definitely. My work phone rings a lot, and a lot of times it's just people, they find something, they think of something, and they just want somebody to clarify it and, make them feel better, basically.
You worked in the industry and then decided to start the business. What were some things you wanted to do differently in your business than maybe industry standard?
I don't want to say a lot because then it sounds like I'm, but the restoration industry in a whole, science in a whole, is, came so far, and there's a lot that some of the companies out there that are doing that hasn't changed in the last 30 or 40 years. And there's all this technology available now.
Right.
To do something faster, do something better, and achieve the same result. And it's hard to get somebody to buy into that's been doing something for 30 years and it's been working and making them money, and then you come in and say, hey, if we spend all this money, we could make the same amount of money, more money faster, It's a hard sell.
Right.
So between that and then my wife and I, who's my business partner, we always felt that, if you build a good team around you, you treat your people right, you harbor like a good work environment, that, those are the people that are going to perform for you and they're going to like to come to work. That was definitely a big thing that we wanted to do. We wanted to, have a company where, guys didn't wake up in the morning like, oh my God, I don't want to go to work,
Right.
So those were kind of the biggest things was, utilizing the new technology out there to get it done faster and get it done better, and then just creating an environment that people wanted to work in.
Your company's kind of in the center of a circle where you're dealing with the homeowner, the insurance company, and then your team also trying to get the house put back together. So that's certainly kind of a challenge, I would think.
Yeah, definitely. And then, sometimes it goes both ways. We act like a general contractor a lot, to kind of be the buffer between the homeowner and the insurance company. Insurance companies are, they're beasts of their own. They've got their own language. They've got their own documentation and stuff. And if you don't know how to read it, if you don't know how to write it, it's really, really difficult to understand it. So, just being able to essentially translate that to a customer and say, this is what you've got coverage for, this is what you don't, this is what your policy affords and what it doesn't. But then at the same time, keeping our whole team on track and up to date.
Right.
We've got a really good team, and it helps a lot.
There's just a lot of things you have to navigate because it's not, if you were just a general contractor, show up, give the estimate, do the work.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to get agreement from a variety of people before you can progress.
Yep, and we want to make sure everything gets done right, to save the homeowner from further headache down the road. But at the same time, we want to get paid for it. So justification has a lot to do with it, and a lot of it is atmospheric, psychometrics. There's a lot of science that goes behind it. So that always interested us, and I think that's what keeps it fun every day.
Science, but also a lot of emotion too. Talk about just the emotion of taking somebody from a major disaster to 6, 10, 12 months down the road when it's put back together, that feeling of satisfaction.
Yeah, it's definitely a long road sometimes. We're pretty quick a lot of times, but there are jobs, big jobs that stretch out. There's a wide variety of emotions, and sometimes you just got to get in the trenches and get through those tough ones. But it is. My wife's really good at it. She's the counselor there who
Right.
who can step in and listen to problems and make you feel like it's going to be all right. And but yeah, there's a roller coaster of emotions involved with it.
Sounds like a great dynamic there. It's not always the case with husband and wife teams running a business, but it sounds like you guys are certainly figuring it out.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely. I mean, just like anything, just like any business partner, we try to keep our personal and business,
Right.
emotions separate. The business creates more personal emotions than the other way around. It's like, why did you do that? But
Right.
no, I think we make a pretty good team. She's got a degree in administration, so. When I first brought about the idea, I've had like 100 ideas of let's do this, let's do that.
Right, yeah.
When I first brought about this one, I think it really kind of played into our dynamic because, I'm a lot more hands-on, and she's a lot more organized and with an administrative background. This type of industry, there's so much paperwork, there's so much back end that nobody ever
Right.
sees.
Yes.
Hours.
Just books of estimates or
Exactly, and emails back and forth constantly, and photo documentation, and just so much back end. I do a lot of the estimating, a lot of like project management and stuff. Whereas then she runs like the whole back of the house, all the office side, and it works out because we're kind of in two separate realms, but we can still come together, where those two meet. But yeah, she definitely handles it. I couldn't perform in that in that sense.
What's been the strangest and maybe the toughest job that you've had since you guys have started?
The strangest ones are hard because there's such a wide variety of what you can consider strange. I don't know if we haven't had a whole lot of real strange ones since we've been in this one. There's biohazards. When you get into biohazards, a lot of people think of biohazard, like maybe a drug lab or a homicide.
Right.
But biohazards come in many shapes and sizes. And I was involved with one where the gentleman had deceased in his apartment. And for some unknown reason, he collected hot dogs, still in the packaging, and we pulled out 10,000 plus packages of year-old hot dogs that it's a sight and a smell that you just
Don't want to experience again, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I think that qualifies as different, at least, if not strange.
It really makes you wonder who lives in the apartment next door.
Right. Yeah. Probably haven't eaten a lot of hot dogs since that
No.
job. Talk about what's been the biggest surprise for you or challenge for you since opening the business?
The biggest challenge, COVID was a challenge. We were pretty young still, kind of when COVID kicked off,
Sure.
so we really didn't know what type of effect it was going to have on us. So that was a challenge, kind of navigating through that, the type of industry that we're in. We couldn't really close down our doors, but we still had to go out and enter people's homes and interact with people. So kind of circumnavigating through that was definitely a challenge. Employees,
Sure.
we're very selective over who we hire. The guys that we're sending out to do water mitigation and mold remediation, they're all carpenters. And we like that because if they're going to go in and they're going to take something out, they're going to do it in a way that's going to facilitate them putting it back much easier. And I think that's something where a lot of man hours and a lot of material is lost from companies that don't necessarily do the putback because they're just in there to cut out and get it out, you know.
Right.
When you've got a guy that will stop and, you know, take an extra second to say, I'm going to do it this way so that the putback goes, you know, this much smoother.
Sure.
It really makes a lot of difference.
Absolutely. What is one thing that you would say that homeowners should know before they maybe have a disaster at their home?
One thing I should say, especially in this area, if you've got a sump pump, if you've got an insurance policy, call your insurance carrier and max out your sump and sewer policy. I should be a salesman for sump and sewer. Every homeowner's house that I go into, regardless of what the loss was, I tell them, call your insurance and max out your sump and sewer. Because within your homeowner's insurance policy, whatever you've got your house insured for, you've got a separate clause for your sump and your sewer. And I would argue over 50% of the water damages that we respond to are related to sump pump failures or sewer backups. You know, we live in an older area and our sewer systems are old. And a lot of people are underinsured. And I'll use State Farm as an example because I know what their policy limit is. But in this area, State Farm will allow you to insure a sump and sewer clause up to $25,000. And it's $100 a year. It will save you so much money. You know? Right.
Well, that's great information to know. If somebody needs to get a hold of you or find out more information about the company, where can they go?
They can find us on our website. It's onestopRestoration.net. We've got a Facebook page at One Stop Restoration, or they can call us anytime, day or night. Our direct line is 618-979-2335.
Mike, thanks so much. If you're thinking about, write that down because you'll be panicked at the time when you need that number,
exactly,
right?
Yeah.
Mike, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for
Appreciate
having
it.
us. We appreciate it.